now that the ISOM 1 campaign is done, I can finally talk about some things. Let's say that, because I just have time. It's more of what it is. Not because I didn't want to. I just didn't have the time. But if you guys remember some of my boneheaded detractors and what they would say, and some of them said, and one of the things that, for example, ISOM number 1 was $35 comic. And it wasn't a 20-page floppy. It was 96-page book. And some people, more of my detractors, not saying that exclusively so, there may have been some outliers as well, but they were like, well, you're costing, or rather, this costs too much, you're spending too much, and then had the nerve to act as if I was swindling the audience. I would encourage you to go watch, if you are a member of my page, my YouTube, you can go watch the stream, the return stream that we did, and I started breaking down a lot of prices in terms of how much stuff costs, and you'd be very, very surprised. It definitely, if you, for getting like the one that's bound the way that our book is bound and made in America, you'd be surprised how much that costs, let alone a lot of people. And shout out to all the customers. You shouted us out for our packaging. All that was custom. All that stuff cost money. Gauging the market, I felt $35, consider what I paid for this bad boy was a comparable price, a competitive one. And yeah, it is what it is. Now, of course, be it with shipping and stuff, now that we have our first book out, we have a lot more buying power, and that's really what this game is. The game is being able to leverage your company, definitely once you see success, to then get those prices down, get the guarantee people, give a person, or be it shipping company, some level of exclusivity, and next thing you know, you're starting to bring the prices down, and everybody benefits, especially the customers. Right, the customers especially benefit because the prices will get lower, and that's what we're attempting to do going into the future. However, what I will not listen to is people that have facilitated a broke ass industry, for lack of better terms. This whole starving artist thing has caught up, and so many folks, be it in music, be it in books, like we're talking about with comics, have put themselves under this moronic impression that they're supposed to be broke. It's either that or they're just flat out economically illiterate. And to be fair, most artists, and I'm not saying this as a shot, I'm just being real, most artists that I've met over the years are economically illiterate people. They don't understand the economics of it all, and they certainly don't understand business. And to be fair, for a lot of them, it's not for them to understand, right? I was blessed because of what I'd been doing over the past decade, and I got sense both ways, right? And being a creative as well as being a businessman, okay? But your artist, your main artist, they don't know nothing from nothing, right? Definitely in this comic book industry. You have to think about even how the business is structured and how it's set up. A lot of these guys don't understand nothing. You got a few that may have an agent or two that represent them, but for the most part, they don't understand jack diddly because they don't have any skin in the game. Sure, they may have a bonus or something like that, and that's about the only skin in the game that they have, but the price is the price. They're going to get their contract paid for regardless for the most part, and it's not like they know. People that work for Marvel, or artists that works for Marvel, knows the ins and outs of how much Marvel is spending per book on something that they work on. They have no idea. So definitely when you're comparing a startup company to this massive company that has just come out, or, you had startup company or this massive company that's been around rather for decades and decades. Here people, my book, for example, isn't made of the same material as this floppy, right? This is different, right? I know they've gone up on the price for a lot of this stuff. This is a Marvel book, but with DC, a lot of those are $5, but you're getting 20 pages of story or something like that. And yeah, that's just what it is. And it's made cheap, generally overseas, in China more accurately. And it's just not a direct one-by-one comparison. But never mind that. The fact is, they're broke. It's a reason why a lot of these guys tend to be leftists. A lot of artists tend to be leftists. A lot of it's by certain circumstances. They have facilitated industry that has left them broke. pissy broke at that. So they, of course, have to think that, well, the companies are screwing them over, and therefore people with money, rich folk, bad. That's just all that it is. It's more of a set of circumstances, as opposed to, they certainly didn't logically get to the position of being some leftist that thinks people should be taxed. People with money should be taxed more. They're just stupid. They work themselves into stupid deals, and they don't use any of their leverage to try to fix the industry. They just sit up there with their hand out. And now, especially when you have people that are so ideologically consumed, so in some cases they're losing these companies money, they don't care about that because they have no skin in the game. But look at this. I might shared this not too long ago. I'm not trying to spill any tea, but this is why many comic artists die poor and cynical. So this person is talking about their royalty, right? This is a picture of the royalty. I have no idea what did they, because they don't want to spill the tea. I think they should. It will make the industry better. What you're looking at is some of the, like, essentially an invoice. And they only got like $1.44 worth of royalties, right? They ain't get jack nothing. They get nothing really, is what it is. And this is why when people would be like, "Hey, your book costs too much," and definitely other artists who, or writers or whatever, even the ones that call themselves independent but don't sell any books, are telling me it costs too much. And I'm like, and then there'll be the same people that are begging for someone to support their business out of charity, not support their business because, hey, this is a book that I think you'll be interested in. These fools will be like, and we've covered some of these weirdos, and they're like, well, I'm having trouble, right? Now, I get it, it happens. But when that has to be your leading sort of business plan, let's say, and that you're having trouble because you don't have any money, something's fundamentally wrong, and you want people to then go buy your product out of charity is essentially what it is. But a lot of these cats is broke. A lot of these folk ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. And this is why I was like, instead of saying, hey, you charge too much, maybe y'all should be charging when I'm charging, then maybe it'd be enough money to go around. One thing we don't have to worry about is people that work for me, be it employee or contractor. What we don't have to worry about is them missing commissions, right? They don't have to chase that stuff down. I pay them a very good price for their work. You know what I mean? I pay them very well. They don't have to worry about chasing me down. And we're able to do a lot of that stuff because of the fact that, well, the price was the price. And as much as I like to get it down, what I don't want to do is leave money on the table that won't go out to my folks, right? It's not like I get the money, go start buying Lamborghinis and stuff. I get the money, I reinvest it in the company. This means more opportunities for current and future employees, current and future contractors. I want to make sure these guys are able to eat off of working for us. And this is something that I noticed with the music industry as well. A lot of these bands, like nobody puts two and two together. Right, a lot of them broke as hell, and you have people that will make music. My belief is that if you have anything that is being viewed and liked or enjoyed by millions of people, none of those that actually produced that material should ever be broke. But often they are. Now, we know how everybody knows how the record labels, a lot of them just boogeyman at this point. Like, they're bad people. People will acknowledge it. It ain't gonna stop these artists from jumping into these crappy deals. But it goes deeper than that, right? You're in a band, you have 5 people. Only way you're going to make money off the record anyway is not off the record at all. The only way you're going to make money for the most part if you jumped into a deal is making money off of your touring, right? You're not making money off of that. They gave you advance. You got to make that back. Usually how it works, think about it like this. If it's like an 80-20% split when it comes to a record deal and what is industry standard, it's not that your record sold and you get 80 or that the label gets 80 and you get 20. No, what's happening is that whatever money that they put into, whether it be if they gave it to you in advance or they paid for you to make the record, right? So if they pay for you, it's funny how it works like that. It'll be like, hey, we're going to send you to this big name producer who's going to overcharge anyway. And because of that, all of that money needs to be made back. So what's happening is that you're not going to make a dime off the record until 20% of whatever record was sold or whatever royalty, whatever you want to call it. This is not technically that, but if you get 20%, each of that 20% has to make that money back, right? So if you sell $1, say if an album or a song was $1, right, and 80 cents was going to the label directly, that 20%, you're not getting that. You're not getting that 20% immediately. It's that 20% has to then be applied, or that 20 cents, excuse me, has to then apply to however much they spent on your record or whatever they did to launch you or whatever it was. You got to make that 20% has to make that money back. And then after that, which is why often artists never see a dime of their royalties, because you can't possibly, a dime of their record, because you can't possibly make that money back, right? But only if you get lucky and do, then you'll start getting royalty payments. That's how it works. And if you really want to make money in the music industry, as it's set up right now, if you're not doing like just completely everything by yourself, you need to go be something else. Go be a producer. Go be an A&R. Go be something else. Definitely a producer. They get all the money. And they get their money regardless. These fools out here got millions of hits, millions of views and streams and all that. And these bands definitely in our industry is pissy broke. They ain't got no money, right? Now, again, they don't have any economic sense. They're often economically illiterate, but they don't put themselves in a position to thrive. It's the same way with comics. And despite these people understanding how they're getting screwed over, they will still turn on folks like myself who have been able to make this lucrative for his company, meaning that everybody that's a part of the project gets paid and gets taken care of. They don't care about that. They just say, well, Marvel doesn't charge $35. Who cares? Oh, this major indie isn't charging $35. Oh, I can get which is dishonest, right? It's very disingenuous to try to do a one-by-one comparison and say that, let's say a compile list, let's say, what is it, Captain America 24, let's say that there was a Captain America volume 6, whatever Captain America they're on, and they compiled issues number 15 to 24 or something like that in a trade, and then they only charge $10 for it. Well, it's reprinted material, right? That's not the same as something that's brand spanking new, but they do that often. Well, I can go get the Watchmen for X amount of dollars. It has this many pages. Well, it's been reprinted 75 times. Like, you're not saying anything there. Nonetheless, maybe these people who are actually independent, who got a problem with my price, yet y'all still broke. It ain't that I should be adjusting my prices to y'all. Why would I adjust my prices to the people that got to beg folk for money? How about this? Y'all adjust y'all's prices to me. Maybe I shouldn't be. It ain't about me paying what you pay. Maybe you should be paying what I pay, or rather charging what I charge, to be more accurate. That's all I'm saying. Look, dude, this whole entire comic book industry as it stands right now needs to be upended. And I've seen it. It needs to be upended. There's so many problems, and nobody actually knows why this is the case. Everybody's just going through the motion, and they think that it's normal for these guys to be as broke as they are. And the minute they see someone else that's been in the same industry that's made a little money, instead of looking to him, and I'm talking about the people that are ideologically different, not the folks that are generally on my side of this, because they want me to make as much money as I can, and I want them to make as much money as they can. But the other folk that hate us so much, the general leftists that run the industry, they look at it like, wait a minute. I see you making all that money. You should be making less. And that's why you eating your cat's food, for nourishment.